We're going to bring it back today to the whole running the numbers thing and why it's so important to run your numbers properly. Because today, so on Clubhouse, this guy, Nelson, he holds this room called the Flex Busters. And what it really looks for is people that are trying to act like they're doing a lot, but they really have no idea what they're doing. But it also serves as a really good platform for people to share the numbers on actual deals and for the audience to learn about how to run deals and what kind of questions guys ask to guys that are presenting a deal to either see if that deal is a good deal or a bad deal, right? So, example, and it's kind of funny that we were talking about running numbers the day before with an example, right? And all the things you need to take into account. But, so someone presented a deal, I don't remember the exact numbers. Essentially, they bought it for like whatever it was. It doesn't matter what they bought it for. But let's just say that the rent was $1,000. Their mortgage, everything else was all expenses were, I think they were at like 700. So they were all like happy and like flexing that that they were making like $300 a door. And then someone else chimed in like, oh, look at me, or let's see all these multifamily guys making, $300 a door. Like, and I'm not saying you can't make $300 a door, you can. But you got to run your numbers right, because what he was doing wasn't running the numbers right. So he was taking into account his mortgage, his taxes, and insurance. First thing that wasn't his cash flow calculation, because he paid it for the whole year up front, was the taxes. So, okay, whatever, you paid, let's say $1,200 for insurance for a year on that property. You need to divide that out by 12 and charge it every single month, right? Because you're going to have to pay that out the next month, the next year too. So it's an expense that essentially is a monthly expense, right, on the property. So that took his $300, if that's what even the number was, down to $200 a month in cash flow. So no bueno. Next thing was vacancy, maintenance, CapEx, and management. That wasn't even brought up. So I was like, hey, where are these numbers at, right? So let's just, for simple numbers, 4% vacancy. That's very, very conservative, actually. It should be much higher to account for essentially 1 month vacancy throughout a year, which whatever percentage that comes out to be. Your maintenance, 3%. And your CapEx, 3%. Again, super, super low numbers, thinking that the house is pretty squared away and not falling apart. And you got like newer roof, windows, furnace, everything. So you don't really need to put aside that much for those capital expenditures, right? That's what capital expenditures are. And then for easy stuff, right? Because that's how much management usually is. Say it's $100. Say it's 10%. So you got 4% vacancy, 3% maintenance, 3% CapEx, management, 10%. Okay? So if your rent is $1,000 every month, you're going to be putting away $40 over here that's not your cash flow, that's part of the property's money, for vacancy, right? For when you do get a vacancy. Same thing with maintenance. You're going to put away that 3%, $30 out of your $1,000 over here in an account. So that way, when you do get a sewer backup or your dishwasher breaks or, I don't know, something happens, you have money, and you're not reaching into your money to, right, pay for it. It's the property's money. Same thing with CapEx. Take that 3%, $30, throw it over here, and over however many years, you have enough money to buy a furnace when you need to buy a furnace, right? And then management, 10%. Man, if you manage it or not, it doesn't matter. I don't understand why people don't get this. So let's just do the calculation real quick. So 10%, $100, right? So grand total, $200, I think. right? 3 plus 3, 6 plus 4. Yeah, $20. Wow, 20%. So 20% out of $1,000 working, my brain's working really slow today. That's $200, right? So his $300 cash flow, once you took out insurance, you're at $200. And once you take out your vacancy, maintenance, CapEx, and management, you're at zero. So you're breaking even. That's not a good deal at all, right? And right, so after you take all of that out, you should be getting $100 or $200 in cash flow, right? That wouldn't institute a good deal, but again, it depends on the deal and how much you bought it for and how much you have in it and all this other stuff. But regardless, right? Those are super, super important, and you always need to take those funds out. Even if you do end up sticking them in your pocket, you have to have them taken out, right? Because if you don't take them out, like this guy did, $300 a month, that's sweet. That seems like a great deal. You can brag about it to all your friends and flex left and right and like, look at me, I'm making $300 off this property and have like X amount in it. Cool. But when you take all this stuff out, you see that you are actually not really making that money at all, right? So when you're running numbers, just please take that stuff into account because it's so, so, so important. Don't fool yourself into thinking you have a good deal, right? And the thing I was going to get into was like the management. Even if you self-manage it, it doesn't matter, right? Even if, like, let's say you self-managed it. So this deal would end up making, you can take your 10% back. So $100, you're making $100 a month. You essentially you bought a job for yourself, right? Because you're making $100 a month off this property, but you're managing it. So you bought a job, right? You didn't buy cash flow or whatever you call it, right? So just be super careful when you're running your numbers. I think these are some of the things that a lot of newer people don't really take into account, right? And they're just so, so important for it to be a good investment, right? And, you know, sometimes your first investment isn't the best investment. My first investment probably wasn't the best investment, right? But not saying that this will happen to everyone, but I just got lucky and the house ended up being worth $100,000 more than what I bought it for, right? So, but it's still cash flowed, right? So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make here. I know it's kind of long and drawn out, but it's so, so, so important when you're running numbers on a rental to take that stuff into account. And that example from earlier today that I just said is a prime example of someone that thinks they got a good deal, but in all actuality, when you run the numbers correctly, you probably didn't even get a good deal. Plus, to go along with it, he just bought it. So he has no idea what that tax bill is going to be, right? Because that tax bill, depending on when he bought it, when it gets filed and blah, 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 you only might see the tax hike the next period, right? Just the way the cities work. So let's just say in this example, he's making zero, breaking even. Those taxes are going to go up because they got uncapped, right? And whoever owned the property before was living in it. So it was a homestead, and now it's a non-homestead. So that's going to go up 30 to 40%, like I said before. Plus, it's uncapped. So if the assessed value was like 50, and now, right, everything's appreciated, so now it's like 90, your taxes are going to go up like crazy. And what you're going to end up with is a property that you're going to be paying for out of pocket every month, right? To me, that's not a good investment. I don't care if you think that the area is going to appraise by double or triple. There's no guarantee for that. The only thing that's guaranteed is that cash flow in your pocket every month, right? So, wow, that was a long video. So anyway, hopefully this helped, but just keep that stuff into account. And if you are trying to run numbers and you are confused, reach out to someone, reach out to me, reach out to someone that has rentals, and they'll help you out. Because me, and I think most other people that are investing, we don't want you to make a bad investment, right? Mostly when you can just ask someone a simple question, because it takes me like 5 seconds to look at numbers and be like, yeah, it's a good deal or not. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I would be glad to help you run some numbers on a rental. And I hope this video helped. And I will see you on the next one. And don't buy a job. And just, if you're at it, just buy me a remote, please. Whoever is out there making those crazy cash flow numbers, because it only starts, it doesn't stop.